everybody. Welcome back to Monday Morning Jumpstart. I am very excited to be rejoined by the Monday Morning Jumpstart OG, Ted Capshaw.
Hey, good to be back. It's been some time, right?
I know, no. I'm so excited to have you, Ted. Um, I posed the question to the people because we were bringing you back. What topics would they like to be covered? Like, what are people struggling with? And I think one that you probably deal with all the time in your line of business, and probably have heard from our members countless times, is the idea of imposter syndrome. Is there,
Mhm.
well, I guess my first question on this topic, Ted, is there any getting over it, or is this just one of those get through it type of ones? How do you feel about imposter syndrome?
No, well, let me first say I'm probably going to cough a little bit through this. I'm on the tail end of COVID, crazy enough, but so forgive me for that. I don't know if you ever get over it, and I don't know if there's a person that I've met that doesn't have some level of it either.
Hmm.
That's what I guess where I should begin by just simply saying, if nothing else today, let's normalize it. The question for me is always, I think sometimes people let it stop them in their tracks.
Yes.
They get so engulfed of the thought of imposter syndrome that it actually changes behavior. It actually keeps them in the shadows of life almost. You know what I mean? I think that's the more important thing to address, what to do when that stuff takes over like that. But I would want to say to anybody listening today that I can't believe it, but it'll be like 21, 22 years I've been doing this work this year. And I don't know if I've ever met anybody. So it's pretty normal. Not
Yes,
pretty normal, it is normal
it is not.
to have
Especially if
some
you've never
level.
done something.
Yeah, especially right now. There's different ways to approach imposter syndrome. There's one, set out with conviction to prove to yourself that you are the person that can do something. And I think you'd be probably surprise yourself sometimes. The other thing is just to be really, really self-reflective. And I guess this is where I'd be a starting point for you and I today is, you know, self imposter syndrome really requires you to be honest with yourself and slow down and do some self-reflection on, like, where's the imposter syndrome coming from? What are you comparing yourself to? Imposter to what?
Hmm.
And the reason I'm saying let's start here is that sometimes I ask people about imposter syndrome, and it's like, well, and Jade, it varies from established CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, true story, that goes, I have imposter syndrome with all of my VPs because, they don't know that I don't have all the experience to really do this job. I mean, that's one level. Another
Hmm.
level is, people that we're talking to very specifically today that are trying to launch a career in writing or even have a career in writing, but it's not where it wants to go, where
Hmm.
they want it to go. And they're going, well, who am I? Like, I'm not good enough to go, you know, promote myself to a established $10 million company to do copywriting for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
where is it coming from? From your lens, what do you think? Where do you think it comes from, or how does it show up with our members?
Yeah, I think that I'll say I 1000% agree with you with that everybody has it, right? And I think everybody has it when you've never fully done something or experienced something and you're going into it for the first time. I think that's the scariest one. And then I don't know, maybe it does disappear for some people, but I know for me it doesn't disappear. Like it doesn't, it becomes less, but it doesn't totally go away, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that like you like what can you do to get to a place where you just at least feel better, right? Like, so for me in my head, that place is preparation. Like I've interviewed some like, literally like you Google the best marketers in the world and I've interviewed them. Do you think that I didn't feel that I should not be deserving of the person emailing them, interviewing them? I'm before I'm like, I'm not going to understand anything they're saying. I'm going to look so dumb when they tell me something, and then I'm going to sit there being like, you know what I mean? Like, so I have felt it in every which way. And I know for me, the only ways to combat, or so you do it in spite of, right? But to be able to be on that stage and do that has been preparation, Ted. And I think whatever way that you can prepare and feel confident in preparation to set yourself up is the only way that I have found that you can dull it in any sense. So for our members, for example, right, that might, like you've talked about, like the LLC, it might be like the setting up of the LLC. It might be the practicing of the writing, because the biggest fear is like, what if they don't like my work? What if my work is not good enough? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like you gotta learn the skill, and then you gotta practice, and you actually gotta write, and you actually do publish for yourself, so that you get that feeling of seeing work published. It's like, I totally agree. You come from the reflection of, why am I feeling this way, right? And then the next step to me is always control. Like, what can you do to control it or combat it, at least to muffle it a little bit, because we now know that it's not going away. And that's, from my lens, the only thing that's ever helped me.
Yeah. I love the prepared thing because the truth of the matter is, and that's through the reflection, sometimes just simply that, through the reflection, you'll find out that you actually are prepared,
Yes. Yes.
which quite frankly should nullify the imposter syndrome. What I'd say to that too is that we also have to start making, I think we've gotten pretty comfortable with the word imposter syndrome,
Yes.
and
Agreed.
sometimes, for lack of better terms, misdiagnose it, because imposter syndrome's like this heavy thing. There's imposter syndrome, which we could get deeper into and
Yeah.
will. And then there's also, I'm prepared and I'm just nervous.
Yes.
I'm presenting myself and I'm nervous for the outcome, or I'm nervous that I'm not going to get the gig, or I'm nervous I'm not going to get the client, whatever it may be. Okay, you're nervous. There is no healing for that. I mean, if you're
Yes.
not nervous, I'd say that something's wrong with you. You don't have a
Yes.
pulse. So I guess, we have to like nullify and kind of put perspective around this imposter syndrome. Where it gets scary for me is when imposter syndrome kind of permeates our being, and we're feeling way out of our skin in the pursuits of what we're going after.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because
mm,
when it's to that level, then I'd go, do we know thyself? And I'm being serious when I say that,
yes.
because it's like, are you going down a trail that maybe you shouldn't be?
Hmm.
Meaning like you're so, and so this is where imposter syndrome goes back into the reflection of, no, if I was staying true to myself, I wouldn't even be going after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I feel completely off kilter. Well, I'm doing this because so and so wanted me to, or this is the way I, da, 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 da. Well, no wonder you feel like an imposter.
Yes.
You're going against something completely against you. Or if you're writing for something, for example, for writers, sometimes they get put in positions to write about something that absolutely go against the core of their beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now they're presenting it as, I care about it, authentic, and they're writing about it as if they care. You have imposter syndrome? No wonder you do.
Yeah.
Now I would reevaluate the pursuit of what you're going after. So I think there's levels of imposter syndrome that we have
Yes.
to. The one that I think probably shows up with our members more often than not is what you're talking about, the preparedness. You've taken the AWAI course.
Yeah.
You know how to write. The
Yeah.
question is, are you going to go just do it? You're
Yeah.
actually prepared. So nullify this and put it in perspective. The deeper stuff probably requires a little bit more self-reflection. My mantra on my necklace and everywhere else is stay true. And I can tell you with high levels of conviction, when I'm in my stay true bubble, I very rarely feel imposter syndrome.
Mm,
A commitment to myself, and you've heard me speak dozens of times at around AWAI events, etc. I never have imposter syndrome because I'm committed to only talking about things that I know and that I stand for.
yes.
And therefore, I never have imposter syndrome in those.
Yes.
When I leak out of that and I'm trying to do something completely out of my realm, I may have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and I have to relegate that to say, well, am I capable of doing it and just have imposter syndrome because I've never done it before? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's perspective. And then
Mm-hmm.
I get through it and I'm like, well, now I can put that on my list of things that I'm capable of. I've done it. Imposter
100%.
syndrome nullified.
Yes.
But if I'm jumping into things that, now I have to be really honest with myself, it's something that I don't stand for, it's something that I don't know about, and quite frankly, something that I don't care to know about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then maybe I just need to leave that stuff alone and then go play in a sandbox that has me in my zone, not in
Yeah.
imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I think another thing that's been lumped into imposter syndrome but isn't necessarily imposter syndrome is that you're looking at like the end result, and you haven't even taken the first step, so you feel like an
Exactly.
imposter, right? Like you're
Yeah.
looking at being the solopreneur that's making a living writing, and you haven't even finished a course yet, right? So
Yeah.
obviously you are going to feel like an imposter in that sense because you haven't done any of the in-between steps that lead you to there, right? But
Yeah.
I would, it's almost again teetering on the preparedness where it's like as you start taking those steps, it will start feeling more real and being a part of you and being a part of who you are, and you'll feel a bit more capable of it, you know? So it's like it's almost like you go to think, okay, I'm saying I have imposter syndrome. What is my symptoms, right? What is
Yeah.
the reason I feel it? Is it the unpreparedness? Is it that I haven't even taken the first step on the journey? Is it that this thing is not right for me? And I'll tell you that other fear of what I started mentioning earlier, when I've interviewed those people and when I don't know what they're talking about, you lean in with curiosity, and nobody ever
Oh,
thinks anything bad of you or like that you don't know what you're doing. It's just like, no, not everybody needs to know everything. And it can almost connect you more with the person when you're like, sorry, like, can you explain that to me? Because I don't
yeah.
quite understand that thing that you're talking about, right? And it's like, it feels like I think with our writers that they think that they got to have all the answers for the clients when they get in
Yeah.
the room with them, and it's almost like no, you're going to actually be asking more questions than you are going to be giving answers in that space, you know. So I think that that can also make you feel like an imposter when you feel like you need to have all the answers to all the things, you know. Yeah,
Nobody does.
yeah, yeah,
Right, which nobody does. I'm chuckling a little bit because the truth of the matter, peeled all the way back, most of us have no evidence, no evidence that we're actually not good enough, that we're imposters
yes,
because of what you just said. Imposter syndrome stops us in our tracks usually from taking any action. And so, that's what I mean by this whole self-reflection. Like,
yeah,
where is it coming from? And if
yeah.
you have no evidence that you're not good enough or can't achieve something, well, then this is like it's self-inflicted,
Yes. Yeah.
you
And
know?
and then you're right, right? Then you are the imposter because you stopped in the tracks because you
Yeah,
felt like you were one, right?
yeah,
It's so
that's right.
humans are so funny and so fascinating in the way
It's
that
true. It's
that
true.
we
It's
operate. So, okay, Ted, any steps or like if somebody is feeling it in this moment, first actions to take?
well, the first action to take would be to take action. I
Yes.
want you to get evidence because at the end of the day, like this whole imposter syndrome, it's really like uncertainty. We could put different names on it. You know what I mean? Go take action and see what you're really dealing with.
Yeah.
If you go take action and somebody receives your writing, somebody receives you, if they receive those two things, we're in business. You're proving to yourself that you're capable and that people are ready to play with you a little bit.
Yeah.
And so go out and take action, take a step and just start nullifying some of this imposter syndrome. And when you bump up into a roadblock, look at it as it is. Don't make it bigger than it is. It's just a simple roadblock and plan around it. If you're not completely prepared, to Jade's point, go get more prepared. Go do something, practice a little bit more. Get up in the morning, practice the writing about, whatever it may be. But I really do believe action solves a lot of this,
Great.
right?
Yeah.
It's just true. I don't want to oversimplify it.
Yeah.
Um, the deeper end of the pool is the self-reflecting that I'm talking about, which is if you're really feeling out of your skin about something, which would be like the deep level of imposter syndrome, I would readjust. I mean, I think that we have been so conditioned to always try to fit in or to try to be the one and all the rest of that. And quite frankly, Jade, as this journey of coaching people over 20 years has gone on for me, I try to get people in their comfort zone, not out of their comfort zone more often than
Yeah.
not. Like I'm done with the whole you don't always have to quote unquote assimilate to not being in pot. Go find people that want to play with you. It's a big old world with a bunch of people and a bunch of companies. And there's people that will receive you for you, and you only need a couple of them.
Yeah. Amen. Do you know I actually did a jumpstart with Terry Trespicio where her whole theme was stop trying to be uncomfortable, that it's a myth, right? Like that we got to, that's the only place to growth. Like yes, we got to stretch a little bit and we got to make move, but to fully like have the goal of being uncomfortable, it's just not where
It's
it's
so
at.
crazy. It's so we should do
Yeah.
a whole nother one of these about that
Yes.
because quite frankly, I'm with Terry. Like I've been in business for 16 years and my business has been in my comfort zone. I created a business to do the work that I'm convicted in and know about. And I've lived in my comfort zone, and it's where I've found most of my success. Doesn't mean that I don't push myself and stretch. It's a misnomer. But this whole, you can only grow in your comfort zone. My Lord, I've grown my life in my comfort zone. Like
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like this topic too. Okay. So for those that are feeling imposter syndrome, assess why, and number one, take action and know that you are not alone. We are all feeling it multiple times in and out of our
Amen.
comfort zone. Um, and so next time we were going to talk about finishing strong and starting strong because both are very important when you're trying to accomplish something, I believe. And we will see everybody then. Thank you, Ted.